Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. You are the smartest audience in the world. You are the most productive audience in the world. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to slow down a little bit, and we're going to talk about what's happening, the causes, and what you can do about it. This will affect you probably for the next 10 years. It will affect your pocketbook. It will affect your stomach. It will affect everything you eat, everything you drink. So hang on, because we're going to try to cover this. We're not going to bore you with a bunch of graphics showing dry fields and dry corn. That's just fluff. We're going to give you the facts and you come up with your own conclusions. That's what this news program is all about. Give the facts, you decide. This is the worst drought in U.S. history right now. All across the country except Maine, the Northwest, states like that. This is brought to you by Simply Clean Foods. They make Pistol Packin' Mama coffee and they make Rootin' Tootin' coffee and Honduran coffee. They also sell Immusist, which I use on a daily basis. You're going to need to stock up on food. I go to Amos Miller for my meats. He's an Amish guy. He's honest. He doesn't say very much. His wife is very, very fun to talk to, but you can barely get a hold of them. They're so busy. But for everything else, I go to Simply Clean Foods. The link will be below. We like Simply Clean Foods because the foods are clean. There's no pesticides, herbicides, and heavy metals. And they're going to start using a whole lot more of that in the U.S. food chain because the food is just... We're in trouble, folks. We're in deep trouble. We don't manufacture enough food to feed our people. We haven't raised the price of wheat on a wholesale basis since 1970. Arthur Daniel Midland's BlackRock has squeezed the farmer for 56 years, and they're finally not planting. So, what's going on? What's happening? Well, this is the worst drought in U.S. history. Now, we know the Mayans were wiped out in 900 A.D. Mayans are down in the Yucatan Peninsula, across the Gulf of America. And we know that the Hittite Empire was wiped out about 1200 B.C. Hittite, all of Turkey. They discovered iron for weapons. They were almost wiped out to the last man because of a huge drought. We know that the Nile's drying up and the Euphrates is drying up. And what's amazing about the Nile drying up is there are civilizations now, buildings, civilizations that are appearing along the Nile they didn't even know existed. All across the world, there's a massive drought. There's going to be huge famines in Africa, and I mean huge. They've gone from 100 million people at the turn of the century to almost 1.6 billion people, and they can't feed themselves. They keep having children, and they wonder why they can't eat. It's amazing. And we're importing as many starving people as we can, but we've reached our limit. Trump says he's going to eliminate 53 million illegals. He ain't doing nothing. Anyway, we have chemtrails. You look out the window. They dry us out. We were going to have rain, and they sprayed the heck out of us. Everybody's sneezing, everybody's coughing, and everybody's got a runny nose. Thank you, Pete Hegseth, Department of War. The 55th and 60th Air Wing, and NASA runs Dresden Air. We've got the High Area Aurora Resolution Program, HARP, run by the University of Alaska. Huge HARP array. They boil the ocean to dry out the planet. It's run by the University of Alaska, which is funded by the Department of War. Pete Hegseth. Oh, gee, all roads seem to lead to the Department of War. And we're still exchanging missiles with Iran today. We also have an array in Thule Air Force Base at the top of Greenland, way at the very top, small one. And then we have a HARP array in northern Norway. I've never seen that one, but I've seen the one in Thule Air Force Base, and I've seen the HARP. And you can look it up, as a matter of fact. In 1993, the sun started burning more helium than hydrogen. Helium turns into sodium, and the sun has been turning white since 1993, so it's getting hotter. Right now, we have twice as much ultraviolet rays as we did 10 years ago. That's a scientific fact. And in 2011, Obama talked about eliminating SAC headquarters, Strategic Air Command headquarters in Omaha, Nebraska. We warned SAC headquarters, and sure enough, a cruise missile was fired at it, and they were waiting for it, and then cruise missile was knocked out of the air. We showed it all over television. There was a big burn spot in the area where the corn was growing in Nebraska, but something above it was a long cylindrical object that they think was somewhat alive and somewhat mechanical that was stabilizing the sun. That's dead. So since 2011, we've been having a drought. And the Department of Defense has been adding to it with chemtrails. Massive chemtrails. Massive use of chemicals to dry out the United States. To what end? Not sure. Not sure why the Department of War would kill their own people, destroy their own farms. Maybe because they work for Lucifer. And NASA, we talked about this on television 20 years ago. Well, 2009 and 10. NASA was firing some kind of laser at the sun. And they're still firing some kind of almost invisible laser at the sun, but there's a blackout on the discussions on what NASA is doing to the sun. We don't know. We know a little Tesla machine about as big as this cup almost took down half of New York City because of the vibrational frequencies. So I don't know what they're doing to the sun, but they're doing something. And then we have this magnetic anomaly. That's here's the sun, here's the Earth, and here's this magnetic anomaly. It's going right past Mars, and the Earth is here, and by the end of June, it'll be right next to the magnetic anomaly. I think it's a giant magnet in the astral plane that comes by every 12,000 years. And then we have huge floods and huge earthquakes, whatever. We're going to find out. We don't know what that'll do to us. But I'll tell you, the government's gone underground, but if the Earth shakes, it'll be like this. All those underground caves will come crashing down on them. Like the Bible says, they'll be in their caves and they'll cry out, God, kill me, as the caves crash in on them. So what's the results? Well, thanks to man, thanks to NASA and the Department of War, Kansas has had a half an inch of rain since October. Now, half this country relies on dry land corn, dry land wheat. That means you plant it and you don't water it. Well, it's all dead. Wyoming got 2 inches of rain in terms of snow. That's more rain than they've got all year in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And what are we doing? We're building huge AI centers to drain the underground water and then pump fluoride into it to pollute it. People don't want those AI centers. They're rebelling against the AI centers. Nobody told them what was going to happen with the AI centers. The Department of War just came in and said, this is a national security event. Kiss your Constitution goodbye. We're going to do whatever we want. And if you challenge us, you'll either disappear off the face of the earth or we'll take you to court forever. Because we have the Department of Justice on our side. That's right. Spray the skies, dry us out, and use the Department of Justice. Where is Trump? Anyway, so Wyoming had the 2 inches of rain in terms of heavy, wet snow. More rain than they've gotten in all winter. Montana, I'm watching Meadowlark Homes. And they build log homes, and I'm watching their videos. And they finally got a dusting of snow last month. A dusting of snow. They want to dry Montana out. Vancouver, Canada. Every year they get snow. Every year, Bellingham, Vancouver, no snow. First time in 50 years, no snow. No rain. The trees are bone dry. The ground in my property is sinking, it's so dry. Water levels since 2011 have gone from 6 foot down to over 12 foot down. Something's sucking all the water out. I think it's the trees. Because the sun is producing more heat. You're going to have sunglasses and a hat because of what the sun's doing. It is drying the planet out. Now what that's doing is it's wetting the northern Siberia, I believe. Although, I don't know. The reports out of Russia are controversial. Maybe there's a drought, maybe there isn't. Maybe there's global warming, maybe there isn't. We don't know. But we do know that the spraying has dried out the United States. You can see the spray patterns. Wiggins has, just go look at chemtrails. You know, when I got into this business, everybody thought chemtrails were crazy. Now you just look up and you're sneezing and coughing. Thank you for making everybody's nose run last night, Hagseth. Good job, Pete Hagseth. Anyway, the Southwest is dry as a bone. There are 10, maybe 15 cities down by Phoenix that are running out of water. They're out of water. The Mississippi River has been channelized and all the mud's gone and the Mississippi is now flowing into the dead aquifers. Now, if we can build an oil pipeline from Canada to Wyoming. If we can build a natural gas pipeline from Minnesota all the way up to Maine and avoid all the lawsuits and all the crap that the Democrats are going to throw at us, why can't we build a water pipeline from the Columbia River is still dumping enormous amounts of water into the ocean. Why can't we build a pipeline from the Columbia River all the way down to, central Idaho, 746 miles down to central Idaho, where they're having a rat outbreak? By the way, if you put out corn flour and baking soda and you mix it, the rats love it. Well, rats can't burp or toot. So they crawl into their hole, they go to sleep, and their stomachs expand, and they literally die. Their stomach explodes. Rats, mice, and squirrels. They can't eat corn flour and baking soda. Now, the squirrels around here don't like corn flour and baking soda, so we're safe. But one of our neighbors has chickens, so if the rats get real bad, I just put out a little bowl of corn flour, a little baking soda in it. I put it out there, and lo and behold, all the rats are dead a couple days later. Amazing, isn't it? Even you could put out the wet cob if you're a farmer. You know what that is? That's corn, oats, and barley rolled in molasses and mix a little baking soda in it. The rats love it, man. They love it. And then they die. They also die if they eat white flour. So you could make white flour biscuits. You'll kill all the rats. But I like the baking soda and corn flour because they go into their holes, they go to sleep, and then they never wake up. It's kind of a humane way that doesn't poison things. Baking soda and corn flour. Anyway, so the cattle herds are down below 1950 levels. Below 1950 levels. Everybody's selling the cows because there's no water to be had. And they can't keep the cattle fed because there's no grass, because there's no rain. I mean, Kansas has had a half an inch of rain since October. What the friggin'? And they won't let them use the groundwater, even though the Mississippi's now seeking into the aquifer. They won't let them use the groundwater. It's insane. The government has gone insane. The government is creating this food shortage. Why? Ronald Reagan proposed marking everybody. So one of the members on his staff went like this. That's what they marked you with in Germany in the 30s and 40s if you were in a concentration camp. They marked you like that. Auschwitz, number 2394. And he went like that. Reagan canceled the idea of the mark of the beast on your hand with the fluorescent UPC code, because the UCP code was developed by Carl Sanders to track the drug products coming from the Golden Triangle in Southeast Asia to the United States. They tried the Verichip. They put the drugs in the ammo compartment on some ships, and they blew a ship up because the Verichip vibrated at the same frequency as the ammo, and the ship just exploded. 3 women did that test. I read the study. So they went to the universal UPC code on the hand and on the forehead, and mainly on the back of the neck. You will be marked. You will run for the mark. Now, the mark of the beast is the UPC code. Some of these things sold by Get the Tea don't need a UPC code. It's sold by a private company. But you go to the grocery store, you got to get a UPC code. Universal Product Code. All those little lines. Yeah, that's the mark of the beast. The beast is the computer. The mark of the beast. It's plain and it's in your face. So what does this mean to you and I? Now that dry land farming, Oklahoma says their wheat harvest will be half what it normally is. Nebraska, Kansas, wheat harvest, corn harvest, half. We can't even feed our people now, and they're going to cut the wheat and corn harvest in half? Yeah, right. And what Trump's more busy with is getting rid of the nuclear weapons in Iran. Not a bad thing to do, since they got ICBMs from North Korea, which got them from John Kerry under Obama. We did TV stories on it. 10 ICBMs sent to North Korea, along with 128, and then another 128 nuclear weapons sent to North Korea. We, the United States, built them. Obama made money on the sale. It was in all the papers. In Russia, China, North Korea. But there's a blackout in America. So what do we do? Now that we know there's no water, now that we know the United States is turning into more or less the Sahara Desert. In the Sahara Desert, all those there's the Nile coming down, and there was a lake here, and a lake here, and a lake here. All those lakes are dry and those communities are drying up and they're having to move to the Nile just to get water. Mass migration. So now that we aren't going to have enough food, what do we do? Well, in America, we may have food rationing. We may see this. We may get the mark of the beast. We're not eliminating the illegal aliens. They're doing mass fraud. So they're going to crash the system. And then they're going to have to come up with a system to universally mark us. Just like Hitler did. Just like Mussolini did. Universal mark. The permanent tattoo on the arm. So, what do we do to avoid all this? Well, think about it. What's going to be in short supply? Clean water and food. That's how they're going to control you. So stock up on food. Beans only last 2 or 3 years. Canned chili might last a year. Since ConAg took over all the chili. Since BlackRock now controls all the canned goods except a few people like Eden Foods. They've destroyed it with chemicals. You could buy dry beans and dried rice, but you ever tried to live on beans and rice after you've been eating meat and everything? It's really hard on the system. Stock up. Simply Clean Foods. Amos Miller for the meats. He even sells jerky, but Chance sells everything else. Fruits, vegetables. He even has freeze-dried chicken and freeze-dried animal food, which our cats love. Oh my God, it's chicken and broccoli. And you've all seen Georgie. He loves broccoli. Rocky, he can take it or leave it. But broccoli is just gobbled up by Georgie. He can't get enough. I'm eating my stir-fried broccoli, and he wants a big plate of it. A lot of animals love broccoli. But you can start preparing food, water, toilet paper, ammunition, heat, communications, gold and silver, and medicine. And I must stress on ammo, unless you're well trained in the law, unless you have an attorney on call, unless you're very competent with a gun, don't buy one. Because most guns are taken by the people who come into your house to kill you and steal all your stuff, usually kill you with a gun you have in your hand. They're demon possessed. So unless you're well trained and willing to use it, don't have one. Keep your door locked. Keep your windows locked. Because, well, we'll see what happens. If he eliminates refugee pay, 100 million people get Social Security, but only 15 million people are retired. And they only live an average of 6 months. Only 15 million retired people collect Social Security, but 100 million people are given it. If he stops those shenanigans, a lot of these people, I've talked with a lot of these people, especially from Russia, Moldova, they say when they cut out American welfare, they'll go back to their home country and collect their welfare. These are welfare rats. They just come to America to get the welfare. When we cut off the welfare, they'll go home and get that welfare. I've had a dozen people like that tell me that. When we can't get American welfare, we'll go home and get our own country's welfare. We only moved here because the welfare is better here. Okay, so if Trump jumps on that, guess what? A lot of people are going to leave. Let them go. Let the welfare rats go. Anyway, so we can prepare for it. We can look out the window. We can get sunglasses and a hat. These are the old enlisted style sunglasses from the Army. American Optical was taken off the list. These are the new sunglasses. They're actually better for your eyes. I don't like the looks. But they're actually better for your eyes. You're going to need some kind of sunglasses. These are ones because we have an infrared machine. And so we use these when we use our infrared machine. You need to be able to use something that will block out the nasty light. The cheap sunglasses darken everything, but your eyes stay open and they get worse because the nasty light comes in. You'll figure that out. So look for a good pair of sunglasses or two. And prepare. It's coming, and it's coming quickly. And there's nothing more that can be said. When Kansas and Oklahoma and Nebraska say that their wheat and corn harvest is going to be half of what it was last year, and last year wasn't half enough, and when Texas, when you see cattle massively dying in the fields, and then the libtard governors shutting down the farms, and Trump doing nothing to arrest the libtard governors for violating federal laws, then you know there's a crisis coming. So be ready And we'll see you probably Monday morning. God bless. Thank you very much, and we'll see you Monday.